Is that better? We got it now? There it is. All right. So is the sound back now? Let me know. All right. Let's just wait for all the chat. There you go. Can you hear me? Thank you. All right, good. So there you go. Technical difficulties. 3:24:24 coming out. There you go. I don't know what was up with my programming here, but either way, I'm here to talk about The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. We'll cover the first 5 episodes. Please, no spoilers for the first 15 minutes, and then we'll talk about the latest episode. So overall, I'm enjoying the series. You know, every episode is really good. I'm hoping that they don't pull something really dumb in the last episode, because the first 5 episodes have been really good, and I've enjoyed it. And I'm excited to see where it goes in the 6th and what looks to be the final episode. So if you're doing March Madness, how's your brackets doing? If you're watching any movies, my wife and I, we watched the Roadhouse movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor on Saturday, and it was pretty good. You know, I don't know which one was better, the Patrick Swayze movie or the Jake Gyllenhaal movie, but I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he's a good actor. He just does stuff the right way. I don't know. I just like him as well. I bet you guys, have you seen the movie yet? I'm just trying to pass the time until the 6th and final episode of The Ones Who Live. We're watching various other little shows here and there. How about you guys? What are you guys watching? We're towards the end of it, and of Apples Never Fall. And I believe it was a book that's a show on Peacock. And I don't know how many episodes it is. I think we're on episode 7. I don't know if it's 7 or 8 or... No, I don't know how many episodes there are, but it's pretty good. It keeps you guessing what's going on. How are you doing with your brackets? Are you doing all right? Did you fill out a March Madness bracket? I did. I filled out a couple. And it's funny when you listen to people and they always tell you, especially in sports, this team's going to win, that's going to win, that's going to happen, they can't win, that team's good, this is going to do that, boom, boom, boom. And a lot of times that's not what happens. Unless they get like one right, then they're like, see, I told you about that. So Rob K says, I watched Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It was good, not great. Well, at least it's good. MT McCoy says, watching X-Men 97. Wednesday is the new Saturday mornings. So I haven't seen any of X-Men 97. I'm excited to see that. I'm a huge X-Men fan. Like I said, like MT McCoy said, Saturday morning was the time to watch shows. Saved by the Bell, X-Men, just other various shows too. But X-Men was my favorite, probably one of my favorite cartoons growing up. And I'm glad they brought it back. I've heard nothing but good reviews of them. I think they have 2 episodes out now. It's on Disney Plus, and I haven't seen any of it just yet, but I'm excited to check it out. I owned all the original series on DVD because this was before streaming. This was before anything. So I bought them on DVDs. I'm going to keep them, of course, and awesome stuff. And I'm excited to see where it leads to after the final episode of the X-Men cartoon. I believe it's like the next day or so or whatever, is where it's supposed to pick up. So I don't know why Morph looks different. Bishop looks different. Storm has different hair. But, we'll have to see how it plays out and what happens with that whole story. So other than that, guys, we're doing well. Got a crazy week coming up. But, so let's get rid of those people on there too. So again, let's just, again, no spoilers on there as well, but that's what people are going to be doing. So what I've seen too is like more and more people are just, because The Walking Dead is not back, but it's still strong again. It's still pretty awesome. I'm excited to see, what happens going forward with the franchises and everything there too. But I don't know. I don't know if people are still watching it as much. I don't know if people care about it as much. And again, I bring this up every live stream. And frankly, I don't care if people are watching that much. I mean, I know my videos are not watched as often as much viewership, but that's probably just maybe my channel. I don't know. So I don't think there's a demand for Walking Dead universe stuff as much as there was, obviously, because the peak was, seasons 4, 5, and 6, and that was a long, long time ago. So, but ultimately, it's a good community to still be a part of, and anywhere you go, trolls will always be a part of any community or two. So, but again, wait 10 minutes before we talk about the episode, okay? Can you wait 10 minutes for me, please, guys? So it's just crazy, too. Like, I'm glad I don't know, like, specifics. I haven't known specifics for, like, the past, 2 episodes and this and the final one. I know some things, and of course we know some things, because we know from filming. We know just what was going around. And we know some stuff on there, too. It's funny, too. Like, remember when last year, right? Because they were filming last February, then March, and I think April, and I don't know when they actually stopped, but maybe May. I don't know. But remember when there was all this news about this and about that and filming this? And we had all these pictures and videos and put them up about the Rick hand situation, his left hand. And then it happened right away, and it was kind of crazy because it just makes sense, though, but people were so against it. People were like, that's not happening, that's not happening. And the information that we've been sharing for over a year ago now has been pretty spot on, and it's pretty crazy. So hopefully we'll get some more information about Dead City Season 2. That should start filming next month, early next month, I believe. Some of the stuff has been arriving in Massachusetts because that's where they're going to film Season 2 in Massachusetts. We don't know how stuff connects with the Daryl Dixon show because we haven't seen any connections. I still have a hard time believing that the CRM has no other connections with the Commonwealth or other communities. Like, I understand. So their way out of that is they want to be hidden. They're the secret society, the secret city, the secret stuff. They're secret. Great. Well, people are a resource. People are just, it doesn't make sense to just kill everybody, right? Like, you could go into a community and see what they're doing or what skills they have are there. Because, like, if the world was 8 billion people and then it got decimated by the zombie apocalypse and the virus or whatever, that there would be far less people around. And of course, people are a resource. People, you got to protect people from people. Who's the bigger enemy? Is it a person? Is it a walker? Who's the bigger threat? Is it a person or a walker? Is it, a group? Is it people? Is it, disease, famine, water, lack of food, supplies, all that stuff, right? But if people work together, then you could get a lot of stuff done. But then there's always going to be those outlier people who have no skills whatsoever, that do nothing for the group, that just complain, that eat more than the next person, that just don't contribute at all. So I understand that. Like, if I was part of the CRM, you have to contribute to be a part of the group. You have to contribute to be part of society. And there's little tweaks that are too. It's just a little too convenient that the CRM just goes around killing groups and communities, and the campus colony was wiped out by them, and then Portland was going to be next or something, and then it's just Omaha was that, and then they try to remain hidden. But you have helicopters, right? How hidden are you going to be? You have weapon depots or gasoline depots or this and that, and you're going to be driving around, right? Like, you're going to be driving around for stuff. And it's just kind of, I don't know. It's just one of those things where you're like, But I'm not complaining. I'm just discussing it there too. So it's one of those things where I'm excited to see where it goes, and I'm excited to see what the future of it holds. So that being said, we only have one more episode next week of this series. Will it really be the final episode of this? Because right now, I think this show, The Ones Who Live, is bar none the best spinoff we've seen. And it just makes sense. You have Rick and Michonne, two of the biggest characters in the Walking Dead universe. Then you have a big budget behind them. You have the actors that are executive producers. You have an actor that's a writer, like Denai Guerrero wrote last week's episode. Amazing. And you have the people in there too. Like, if you were involved with the production, starring in it, producing it, potentially writing some things, you're going to be like involved very heavily because you want it to succeed, right? And the show is only as good as the writing, as the story, as everything there, you know? And so it's a great show, and it sucks that it's only 6 episodes. Like, Fear the Walking Dead was trash. Like, total trash. 8 seasons we got, right? 8 seasons. That's crazy. World Beyond, we got 20 episodes. Daryl Dixon, we got 6. Another 6. Dead City, we got 6. Hopefully have another 6. So we'll get, 1 season, 6 episodes. But hopefully we'll get more and more and more on there too. So I'm excited. Thank you guys for being here. I truly appreciate it. So sorry for the, volume stuff early on. I don't know what happened with that, but we got it going. First minute or so, but there was no audio. But we got it. And overall, guys, I'm excited to I'll be here next Sunday. I know next Sunday is Easter, but I don't think my wife and I are going to be doing anything really, but we'll have to see. But unless something comes up, I should be here next Sunday to talk about the finale of The Ones Who Live. And so my wife and I were talking about it. After next week, man, we won't have a show for months. Like, nothing in April, probably nothing in May. I don't know if the Daryl Dixon show is going to be in June or July. And I don't know if we're going to get so I really hope we get a Daryl Dixon trailer in April. And then maybe a little more or something in May. And then the show could be in June. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get in July at Comic-Con. Like, I have no idea if there's going to be any panels for the Walking Dead universe. So I would assume that Gimple, Denai, Andrew, everybody, they're going to know what the future holds for Rick and Michonne, The Ones Who Live. A future spinoff, a future series, a future this, a future that. Like, I hope it's going to be something that they know what they're doing. And I've seen the interviews where Denai Guerrero says it's a limited series. But how limited? That's very vague. And it just feels right when you see Rick and Michonne. Especially now that Rick is back to being Rick. Like, the way the episode ended last week, it's Rick and Michonne are back to being Rick and Michonne too, right? So it just makes sense. B4 Danny Cap Q&A. I just don't understand the timeline. How do they cross over with the other timelines? Does anyone know of a good overlay? I don't know. If we're worried about timelines, then we're trying to figure out a fictional zombie apocalypse universe that is just kind of crazy. Like, if we try to worry about the timeline of things, then we're going to get caught up in all the little nuances of the things that don't make sense, and how many years after the bridge, and how many years here, and how many years there, and they jump around the timelines of this and timelines of that too, and it's now, and it's here, and it's then, and it's now, and it's then, and it's now, and it's there, and Fear the Walking Dead's this, and time like that. Like, if people show up, they show up. It's just one of those things where let it be, let's have it be what it's going to be, and let's roll on with it too. I'm not trying to figure this out anymore. The comic is done. The main show is done. We're in spin-off uncharted territory with a CRM fictional thing that's just for the show. Let's let it roll with that too. All right, guys. So that's my 15 minutes of not talking about Season 1, Episode 5. So we're going to cover Season 1, Episode 5. The title is Become. It's a good episode. It's a really great thing too. So I know there's a lot of people talking about a lot of crazy things and a lot of crazy stuff, but let's get into Season 1, Episode 5, Become. So the episode starts with a not masked individual, but like an individual we don't know who it is, and they're walking in the woods, and you see black shoes, black pants, blah blah blah, and they take out a machete, and they see a walker in the distance, and the person looks up because they hear a helicopter, and it's pretty cool who it is. It's a nice little connection, and it's Father Gabriel. And he does his little prayer thing, and then the opening credits start. So Father Gabriel joins this series as a flashback with Jadis. So Jadis Stokes is a character that was connected with Father Gabriel with season 9 before she went away. So she comes around to go meet Father Gabriel time and time and time again. So it jumps around from then to now, and 2 years ago, 3 years ago, then and now, and so it messes with the timeline a little bit. But after the opening credits, it's Rick and Michonne in the yellow truck, and they're driving around. And so they're like driving places, stopping places, getting something to eat, doing this, finding a car that it's a transport car for a fictional noodle company called Tasteful Nudes. Like noodles, like Noods. So like not like naked, but it's just a funny play on words. And it's really funny. And so they enjoy that, and you see they're in Wyoming. There's a thing behind them that says Wyoming. So they're going from the Cascade area to Wyoming, through Wyoming, and they're taking Route 90 to Virginia. And so, which, was a top, route that would probably take you from West Coast to East Coast or vice versa. And so they're going around, and it's pretty cool to see them having their just time together. And it's definitely a callback to the episode where Rick and Michonne were at the carnival fair thing, and they take out the walkers and they crash through the building and they do this and they find food and MREs and stuff. And so they just have their little, again, so you get to see them for the bulk of the episode, and they go to this like national park area, and they go inside and they check the area and they check the building, and they find the little nameplates. And Michonne talks about she hates those things because you can never find her name because Michonne is a rare name. And so they see this, and Rick finds a tag that says Junior, and he asks should he get this for RJ. And Michonne's like, no one's ever called him Junior, ever. So they have their little back and forth moments. Rick finds a necklace with the name Michelle on it. He breaks off the Michelle, and now there's an M on there, and then he gives it to her later on. And it's just nice little things back and forth, and there's a little like hatchet axe thing that, little callbacks to all these different things. So they're going around, and Michonne finds a cabin key for cabin 1, and they're going to stay there for the night. And so they're walking through the woods, and they come across these 3 people, and they're killing these. Well, they're fighting off these walkers, and the walkers had this like calcification on there from the geysers that are hardening their heads, and they're hard to like break through. You can't just break through it. So Rick comes up with a thing where he like smashes the thing, and then Denai stabs it. But you should just stab through the eyes. Like you'd be able to pierce the eyes much easier. So they kill the walkers, and then there's the 3 people there. There's two guys and a girl. And Michonne says they look hungry, so they take the bag off and they give them the 3 packs of the noodles. And they're in rough shape, the 3 people. But the guy who was interesting enough called Red. So the Red theory strikes again. And it's kind of funny that the Red theory, to me, makes obvious sense. And the people that agree with it makes obvious sense. And it's all over this series. Like, it's all over it. Like every episode. And so we're in episode 5. We lost people in the first episode, the second episode, and now the 5th episode. So episodes 3 and 4 were kind of like, not filler, but like storytelling stuff on there too. So in 3 of the 5 episodes, people have died, and there's been a huge component, not a little component, a huge component of the Red theory. So it's pretty hilarious, but it happens, and it's there. The guy's name is Red, first of all. And he has a red gun and a red bag and a red thing. So it's jumping out at you like red, 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 red. Like obvious, right? But the people that disagree and the trolls and the, whatever. It's just hilarious. And of course, they die. So Rick and Michonne help these people, and the guy named Red with the red gun takes it out and puts it and aims it at Michonne. And Michonne and Rick aren't deterred at all. Like, they don't even flinch. And they're like, yeah, well, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do that? Blah, blah, blah. And he drops his guard for a second and boom, knocks the gun out. Boom, and they take the gun and they take his gun. And now Rick has the gun pointing at the other guy who pisses his pants. And Michonne takes the noodles back, and it's just hilarious. They should have just kept the guns, by the way. Like, I don't know why. So he takes the gun. Rick takes the one guy's gun, throws it over there. Michonne takes the bullets out of the other gun, throws it over there in the woods. But you should have just kept the guns and be like, you tried to kill us, you tried to do this, you're on your own, see ya. But they don't. They go to the cabin, they hang out there, and then the three people we don't see till later. So then it goes, the whole episode is like then and now and then and now kind of a thing. It jumps around with Jadis and Father Gabriel. So Father Gabriel and Jadis met every year for so many years. They're not going to meet anymore because Jadis is dead. More on that later. But Father Gabriel and Jadis talk over time and time again. And Jadis knows that Rick is alive. But Father Gabriel thinks that Rick died, sacrificed himself. Michonne was out trying to look for stuff and blah, blah, blah. So you see that she never tells Father Gabriel that Rick is alive. And she never tells Father Gabriel about the people that she's with. And she never tells, Rick or Father Gabriel a lot of stuff. And especially in Father Gabriel is having a tough time because the walls were breached. There was the Whisper War going on. There was all these problems since stuff happened. And since Rick went away and Michonne went away and everything. And so Father Gabriel was like, we're struggling. We need food. We need this. We need that. And Jadis can't help him. And so Father Gabriel gets kind of pissed, and he's like, look, can these people help us? You don't tell us anything about this group besides they don't help us. They won't do this. They won't do that, which is like understandable. But Jadis, I don't know how Jadis gets away every year, But either way, it's kind of a nice little thing to see Father Gabriel. Seth Gilliam does a great job, and it's cool to see him. And it's just a nice little new character because we want expanded universes of that. Like, it's good that we see Father Gabriel. It's good that we see Jadis. It's good that we see Rick, Michonne, and other people like that too. Now, we don't see anyone else, but it would really be really good to see Silas or other people from the world beyond to bring those people in. I'm not saying we will, but we could see them in the final episode. That would be pretty cool if we did, even if it was a brief little cameo or something. So, but it jumps around a little bit, and you see that Jadis is having a hard time somewhat not being there. Like, she keeps coming back, but then Father Gabriel says, like, you never left. And she goes from being Jadis, part of the CRM, or Anne, part of Alexandria. But, so it's back and forth, back and forth. So Rick and Michonne go to the cabin. They drink Johnny Walker, and they have a little bit of drinks. They go to bed, probably get it on. Wake up, and Jadis is in the room because she found them, and she explains how she found them. She figured that there was no bodies the way they left. It was this, a yellow truck, wrappers of the noodle stuff all over the Highway 90, US 90 or whatever. So she just followed the stuff, the breadcrumbs, and so it makes sense. It kind of doesn't, but it makes sense anyway too. So Jadis is there kind of like Jesus in season 6 when he's there standing at the foot of the bed kind of thing, and Rick and Michonne. But Rick and Michonne jump out of bed. They're fully clothed this time, though. And Rick's missing his left hand, obviously, and it's CGI'd with the wrap around it. And so it's just kind of cool to see the comic Rick there. And Rick drops his machete. Jadis tells Michonne to drop her hatchet, and they do. They get zip-tied together. Jadis, after a little bit of back and forth, this and that. So Jadis wants to bring Rick back to Major General Beale, and then they were going to do this. I don't really know why Jadis couldn't just let them go, because if they go and they get away, who cares? Who cares? They're not part of this big group, this big army. They're not going to bring people to Philadelphia. They're probably just going to go home and leave it alone. And they thought they were dead and whatever, but it doesn't matter. And Jadis shoots at Rick and Michonne, but Michonne hides into the thing, gets away. Rick goes under the bed, kicks the bed at Jadis. Jadis falls back. Michonne picks up the gun, shoots at Jadis, and Jadis escapes. I think she kind of gets wounded a little bit. She gets in her car and drives away. Rick and Michonne get in their vehicle, and they drive down after Jadis. Rick's like, we can't kill her. We can't kill her. We can't kill her. And Michonne's like, we got to do what we got to do. She don't deserve to live. We got to take her out, blah, blah, blah. And it's just funny back and forth. High-speed chase, all that stuff. Walkers, this and that. Jadis gets kind of in trouble a little bit. She's kind of bleeding a little bit from, I don't know if she got shot or wounded or whatever, but she comes across the 3 people that Rick and Michonne let live. The guy, Red, and the girl. And so Jadis says, look, I'm wounded, I'm hurt, I need your help, I need this, blah, 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 blah. So she tricks them into going inside this building with all the sheets and the blankets and the things covering that we saw in the trailer and the pics on there too, so a while ago. So Rick and Michonne are tricked to go into the building where Jadis is with those 3 people. So Jadis tricks those 3 people, and Rick sees a person with the black attire on. It's the woman that was with the 3 people, or the 2 people. And so she's tall and stuff. They think it's Jadis, but it's not. She turns around, and there's Red and the other guy. They have the guns. And then Jadis is like, look, see, 4 against 2. We got you now. We got to do blah, blah, blah. So Rick and Michonne are kind of in trouble. But there's all these walkers inside the building. I don't know how they got in there with the calcification on their heads. But nonetheless, the 3 people are, Rick and Michonne try to say, look, you don't want to do this. She's lying to you. It's not a thing, blah, blah, blah. But Rick and Michonne fight them off and kind of take their weapons. And then all these walkers come and attack the girl, attack Red, and attack the guy. So they all die. So they end up dying. And they eventually become walkers, and they bite Jadis later on. But so now it's Rick and Michonne against Jadis. And they're talking back and forth and blah, blah, blah. Now, what I find pretty interesting is there's red all over the place. But also Jadis is wearing the black attire like Okafor. And she's got the red marks all over her outfit. And it's pretty evident. It's pointed out basically right before she dies too. And so, again, it jumps around from Jadis and Father Gabriel talking over here every year. They were meeting. And, Jadis and Father Gabriel talk about Rick and Michonne were never married, but they consider each other husband and wife. And Rick said to Father Gabriel that he wants to marry Michonne on the bridge and everything, but it never happened. And then Rick walked away from Father Gabriel, and Father Gabriel found a ring in the mud or in the dirt. And he kept the ring, gives it to Jadis, and then Jadis at the end gives it to Rick. And so it's kind of like a full circle moment on there too. So it's just nice little things here and there. So a little bit before back and forth with Jadis and Rick and Michonne, because again, it jumps around a little bit, but it's in the now timeline. And Jadis fires at Rick. It's like a ricochet, I guess, that gets Rick in the head a little bit, but he's fine. And, Jadis is not looking good. She's injured. She's wounded. And Jadis says, look, we got to work out a deal. We can do this. And Rick says, look, I'll go back with you. Rick plans to go back with Jadis. Michonne says, look, we're going to work out a deal. We're going to do this. I'm going to go away, blah, 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 blah. And Jadis says, okay, come out, do this, do that. So they look at each other. It's like a standoff. Jadis puts her gun away, kind of a thing. Michonne says, I'll go get the first aid kit and we'll patch you up. So Rick and Jadis are face to face. Jadis takes out another gun. Rick's like, So there's a double cross kind of a thing yet again, because that's what Jadis does. So then Rick and Michonne know that Jadis can't be trusted. So then Michonne comes out with the rifle, and then it's a standoff again. And Jadis is just trying to work out a deal. And Jadis says, look, if I die, the dossier is going to go to the people and they're going to find out Alexandria and blah, 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 blah. He's like, well, how do we get to it? What do we have to do? Blah, blah, blah. Because Jadis is basically dying. And before that, there's all these walkers that are in there that are about to go after Jadis. And Michonne uses up all her bullets and kills all the walkers. Which is like, I know you need Jadis alive, but it's kind of stupid for that. But either way, the three people, Red, the guy, and the girl, are now walkers, and they get up and they attack Jadis, and they bite Jadis on the neck. Rick kills the walkers, and then Jadis is bit on the neck, so she's dying. So now it becomes the heart-to-heart moment because Jadis is dying, and Jadis wants to help Rick, wants to help the people, wants to help this. And she talks about she wishes she was an artist because it wasn't about survival. And then we see the paintings of Glenn, and we see her working on the cat sculpture, and we see all these past, connections on there too. So it's cool to see that you see the flashbacks and stuff with Jadis. So it's definitely kind of impactful because we've known Jadis for many seasons now. She's one of the only characters to be in part of 3 different shows. So it's kind of cool that they're wrapping that up, and she got bit, so she's definitely dying. The red theory definitely strikes because you see the red kind of all around her before she dies. And so they find out where the dossier stuff is that she put up to protect herself. It's in the Cascadia base, magically where the summit is. And so they know what to do. So what they're going to do is have a plan. So Jadis says, do what you said you were going to do, Rick. And that means kill her. And so Rick is definitely something that Rick and Jadis are, bound together a little bit. And, Rick shoots her and puts her out of her misery. So I know that Rick and Michonne leave the area, and their plan now is to go back to the helicopter that Jadis has. So because Jadis was by herself too. So that Rick and Michonne can't just go home because they want to protect people protecting people or whatever. They protect people from people. So that was on a sign, and it was something that Michonne took to heart, and now they feel like they have to go to the summit to have the plan. So the plan would be that Rick goes to the echelon meeting because Major General Beale said that when Rick gets back, they're going to give him the echelon notes and the upper echelon information and the echelon whatever, the extra information too. So it's definitely something that Rick is going to, and Michonne are going to go back to the CRM, the Cascadia base, and see what happens there. So ultimately, Rick and Michonne are going to do all this work and have to take out people from the CRM. So it ends with them getting in the helicopter, I guess, and then flying back to the base or into the distance in the woods, and that's the end of the episode. So next week's episode highlights Rick and Michonne in their armor with the red on the armor now. So that makes me a little worried for Rick and or Michonne, and this is what I kind of don't want to see. I don't want Rick or Michonne to die. But if they're wrapping this up, if there's no more episodes, if there's no more stuff with these characters or one of these characters, someone has to die. I'm guessing, right? Because this show is the epic love story of them finding each other and blah, 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 blah. And now we found each other. What's the next thing for them? To go back home and to live happily ever after. But that's not the way things work here. This is The Walking Dead. I don't know how many people are going to get the happy ending, especially Rick Grimes. So we'll see Major General Beale. We'll see the summit meeting. We'll see Rick and the echelon information. We'll see Michonne and this. So we'll see Thorne. We'll see all that for next week. And that's the wrap it up on there too. So Jadis killed off. They brought in Father Gabriel, which was cool. And, there's a moment where there's the point in the trailer where Jadis is pointing her gun at somebody. It's Father Gabriel, who's knocked to the floor. And for a brief moment, I guess Jadis thought to kill Father Gabriel. But then she kills a walker in the distance that's coming in the woods. And we know Father Gabriel was going to die because very much alive. But now I don't know how many times they met. They're not going to meet anymore because we see Father Gabriel meeting in the woods and Jadis never shows up. So, but she's not coming anytime soon anymore. So, but I would like to see Rick and Michonne get home. I would like to see, I would still write it where Rick is injured, but stays alive for a couple days and gets home and sees people and then dies. But I don't know. I don't know where it's going. I don't know what happens there too. I don't know if we're going to get more connections and people showing up in the finale, which I hope they do because it says only one episode left. So I don't know. But that's the episode. Another good episode. I know somebody was saying it's 70 minutes on Facebook or something. It's not 70 minutes. It's not even 50 some minutes. It's like under 50 minutes because what I watched was the episode and then the trailer for next week and then it was like cast diaries or something they said. And so you got to see what Gimple was talking about, Father Gabriel, about Jadis and the whole story with that too. So, but it was good. I mean, it was definitely a good thing to see Father Gabriel show up again, the connection with Jadis, so it makes sense. And every episode so far has made sense. You know, if you like the show, I would assume you can just, everything's making sense to you. If you're not liking it, or some people don't like it. You know, some people on Facebook are like, this show sucks. It's not good. I can't believe Rick and Michonne are acting differently. Do you think they're acting differently from their characters before? I mean, Father Gabriel is basically the same or whatever. And you're like, just, I don't know. People's mindsets are hilarious sometimes too. So Brian asks, how could Gabriel have lied to the group all these years? I don't know. Well, he had a connection for Jadis, which I find it funny that her name is Jadis Stokes, and Gabriel's last name is Stokes. So Gabriel Stokes. So did they get married? Is his name not Father Gabriel Stokes? Is it just Father Gabriel? Is it Gabriel Stokes? I mean, in the comic, it's Gabriel Stokes. So, interesting. But it's one of those things where I guess Father Gabriel is a player, you know, a little bit, you know, because with Rosita, and then he's with Jadis, and this, you know, come on, man. So, but I don't know. Like, I mean, it's entertaining. It's entertainment. It's a good show. It's a good series. To me, it's just going to be like too short. I just don't know what else they could talk about. I mean, because they're kind of like painting themselves in this moment now where, you know, so it was like, Rick, what's he been doing all this time, trying to escape, trying to do this, trying to do that. So it's definitely interesting to see them wrapping it up kind of quickly over the 6 episodes. But what's left? You know, I doubt Rick and Michonne would both die. Because Michonne has to get back to Judith. One of those people have to get back, especially when they could have got away. And now they're like, we have to go after these people to go in. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, Brian. I don't know if Beal has already seen the file. I mean, I don't know. There's no way to tell. You know, the last episode is going to be telling. Because we know that Rick and Michonne are be going in there. Rick's going to be getting information. Thorne, what is Thorne going to do? Is Thorne going to help them? Is Thorne going to be a thorn in their side? Is she going to be a thorn in the CRM side? Are we going to see help there? Are we going to see this? Will Michonne get the people to rise up? Because that's like a big thing that Michonne wants to see. If the people of the CRM know what's going on with Major General Beal, with the powers that be, with all that stuff, they're going to rise up. You know, people are a resource. They're powerful. Strength in numbers. People working together on there too. And it's crazy to think that because the CRM is clearly the bad guys. They're clearly the bad guys. The military are people that don't want to save people. They want to basically get what they get, keep what they keep, remain secretive, don't really mess with anything, just kind of do what they're doing, live in the shadows, and they're not there to help people, So I said it before at the beginning of the stream that I was like, CRM, I see what they're getting at, but to me it's like a cop-out that they're like, they just remain secretive. They fly around in helicopters, man. I mean, come on. They travel around. They do this. They're a huge organization. They're the biggest military operation in the world. So it's kind of tough to do that. And I don't know what these three people were doing in the woods, by the way. Like when the Rick and Michonne episode here, I don't know what Red and those two other people were doing. They didn't find the cabin. They were out in the woods. Like what were they doing? I mean, this isn't like the first days or months or years in the zombie apocalypse. Where were they all this time? Like, it's just, I don't get it. There's cabins all over the place, evidently, but people are finding stuff, but it is what it is. The show's it's a fictional thing, and some things make more sense than others too. So I don't know where it's actually going with what's happening for it, but I don't know, and that's okay. I'm glad I don't. I want to be somewhat surprised for the finale. So speaking about that, the rumor is that they shot multiple endings to mix up the stuff that's going around for the final episode, which makes sense. Just like they shot different victims of Negan because to throw people off. Remember when that happened? Remember how big of a deal it was? The Negan lineup, right? So it's season 6, episode 16. Remember that? When it was the lineup and we saw Negan and he smashes down someone on the bat and we don't know who it was. I don't know. Like, that was crazy. There was all this stuff. There was like audio of Maggie like screaming Glenn's name and screaming this and screaming that, and people thought this, and they were like, I heard Negan hits this one with a bat and then shoots this one and then does this and does that, and there too. I just remember that whole summer was crazy because we didn't know the answer. But they shot multiple, they shot everyone getting hit by Lucille to throw people off. And then after a while, when you didn't see Abraham and you didn't see Glenn filming anymore, you're like, I guess they're the victims, huh? And it was. Because they weren't filming anymore. But it was just like similar stuff here. So what happens? I would love to see the different things that they shot for the finale to see what happens. What is the true one? Because only so many things can happen, right? Rick and Michonne both live. They both die. One lives, one dies. Because Jadis is dead. We're losing. People were dying every episode besides 3 and 4. Well, the Roomba died, I guess, right? So that was the sad part in last episode. But in 3 of the 5 episodes, which is a pretty good percentage, people have been dying. And who's going to die in the final episode? Thorne? If they're going to continue with this CRM stuff, will Major General Beale survive? Will that be the character that carries on to the next spin-off, to the next show, to the next season, to the next whatever they decide to do, right? The Roomba went out cleaning. That's why he would want to go out, If the Roomba was going to go out, he would want to go out doing its job and doing it well, I would think. But It's good. It's a good show. Like Rick and Michonne, Denai, Scott Gimple. So I don't know how much Gimple's really involved with it. Is he letting them do their thing? Because I would assume if you got Gimple, Denai, and Andy in a room, and Denai's like, I'm doing that, you're probably not telling her no. Right? Because Michonne and Rick are vital to the show. Denai is a playwright. Andy Lincoln is Rick Grimes. He does a great job. And it's awesome. And they're doing a great job with it, too. I mean, Denai Guerrera brings a lot to the show. Rick does a lot. And it works. It just works on multiple levels. And I don't know. Phantom Deluxe. Let me see. Where's your question at here? Nope. Q&A. Major General Beale said that there is no other force more powerful than CRM that exists in the world. Do you think Kirkman is deliberately hinting at something actually much greater? Not really. What could be greater than the CRM, though? There's no other more. I don't know. Like, because, right? So out of all the stuff in the Walking, we don't need another group. Like, no. We need to wrap it up. We need the Daryl Dixon show to connect. We need CRM to connect with the Commonwealth. We need stuff to get all that. Yeah, I don't know where Jadis got the car, but maybe, I don't know. It's a good question. But you would think that the CRM is the big bad, because the Civic Republic is like the governing body of the world that's left in the Walking Dead zombie apocalypse. And then the military is the powers that be there too. So I'm hoping that in the finale, we get to see different political figures of the Civic Republic, like the Council, like Major General Beale. Like, it would be really cool if we made reference to Elizabeth Kublik, or if they made reference to anything from the world beyond, because that would be a little rewarding for watching that show. But I don't know. Like, I just don't know what it's going to end up being on there as well. And so it's going to wrap up one way or another next week, guys. That's crazy to think that we waited like forever. Like, not forever, but a long time, right? And it's just something that makes sense to have more story for this. Because I don't know, like, maybe this lit a fire under Andrew Lincoln is like, I like playing Rick Grimes still. That would be cool. Maybe Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera are going to be taking the reins for a little bit longer. Be doing a couple things here and there too. So, but Phantom Deluxe, good night. Hopefully we'll find out, what's going to happen there. And while Okafor said that the CRM is the most powerful military in the world, like, yeah, there's nothing going to be else there. Because the CRM is probably a branch of all the different military operations that were around in armed services in the United States, maybe world as well too. Because it just makes sense that they would come together for that. Now, we don't need an expansion into China or Australia or South America or this or that. We already have the expansion potentially in Daryl Dixon show. That would make sense. Are they going to keep doing more experiments? I don't know. I liked Okafor. There was just something about him. Well, it doesn't matter. He's killed off anyway. But I liked him a little bit. So, people are coming and going in this series. But who's left, right? So the final episode, we got Rick, Michonne, Thorne, Major General Beale. That's 4 people, right? Of course, all the fill-in people. So the big question is, as I made this video a while ago, will Thorne help them? So Rick and Michonne have to go find the file, the dossier. Rick's got to see what the upper echelon information or the echelon briefing or whatever is. So they have to find out more about that. And then they have to see what is their plan. Like, what is the plan for the CRM? global domination. Are they going to talk about France? Probably. And who came home in the Daryl Dixon show? Who came back? We're still waiting for that answer. Hopefully we'll get that over the summer when Carol shows up. And I really hope it's rewarding and not dumb, because the build-up in the Walking Dead universe is always there. The payoff, not so much. But we'll have to see. Brian Q&A, how did they have time to bury Jadis when the summit is literally about to happen? I don't know. I don't know how much time they had before the summit. Because, if they had... It crashed the same day there, the helicopter. The next day they were there, and then they got away for a couple of days or whatever. So I don't know if it's been... I don't get it. I think it was like a couple days away from it. I don't think it was like the next day. I think they were still preparing for it. So, again, the timeline is something. So, but they bury Jadis, and they have a rock, and it says the letter A. A nice callback to A's and B's and all that stuff. So, but yeah, that's still hanging around, the A's and B's and the red theory. But so I don't know, like when you watch the episodes, and I don't know, I'm kind of looking for it now, especially in this series where the red's showing up more and more and more and more. And like it's pretty obvious too, like when the characters are taken out, there's red like all around them. And when Jadis is wearing her black, CRM gear, she's got the red tape and the red lines and the red this on there too. And then when she's sitting there, there's like a red blanket that's here and a red right there and there's red wording, and it's just definitely all over the place too. So I don't know. It's just something that's just crazy. So, but ultimately, Soul Life says 33 likes, 75 viewers. Y'all are some algorithmic. Yeah, I don't know. The algorithm is definitely not getting any in favor of my channel, I guess. The algorithm's not doing me any favors. I don't know. But again, I'm not too worried about it. I'm still having fun with the community and the channel and the show. But, after next week, we'll have to see, what we'll talk about. We'll probably break down a Daryl Dixon trailer whenever we get that. I'm not sure. Hopefully we'll get information, So it'll be very telling what happens with the final episode. It's definitely something that we'll have to see. I don't know. I hope the characters live, right? So, Brianna Harrington says, missing from, I see they started filming. Yeah, they've been filming now for a while. They've been filming since like the beginning of the year, I believe, Brianna. I think they started, I want to say January. But yeah, they've been filming for a good time there. So, yeah, no, Michonne's attire was orange stripes. In next week's episode, they both have red on because they have to be a part of the group. Rick's going to wear that attire going in. So we'll have to see what happens. I'm not saying because they're wearing red, they're both going to die or both going to live or whatever they're too. So either way, it's the last episode of this season or maybe series. So I hope it's rewarding, exciting, and setting things up because, it's a comic book, material, and the comics are all about the next book and the next book and the next book and the next book and the next book, So you don't want to just paint yourself in a corner and have to just finish stuff. And that's kind of what I see these spin-offs kind of doing. Because AMC is still probably relying on the Walking Dead universe. Like, I think The Ones Who Live is one of the biggest rated shows on cable or viewed shows or whatever. Like, I saw something had it up on Facebook that it's up there as rated as one of those too. And the ratings I'm kind of seeing in the are like pretty high. And I think everybody's enjoying, or I think majority of people are enjoying it. I know some people on Facebook are saying how bad they don't like it and blah, blah, blah. But that's very minor and very small. So hopefully, based on the viewership and based everything, that they'll continue in some way, shape, or form. Brian, Q&A, are they sneaking in because they wouldn't Beale just have them killed on sight? Well, Jadis said to Rick, when he was going to give you the echelon information the next time he saw you. So Rick's going to be going to the front gate by himself, and he's going to be allowed to go in because he's part of that group. He's part of that stuff. He's part of that whatever. And then he's going to have a debriefing. They're going to want to know information. What happened with this? What happened there? He's not going to have to say that he saw Jadis. He doesn't have to see it. He didn't see any other soldiers, any other people. You know, he can say that Michonne died, the bad weather took out the helicopter. So it's their way out. So Rick's just going to go right in to the information. And I really hope this so there is kind of a problem with the Walking Dead universe of them wrapping stuff up. So, I mean, can they do it in a way that's exciting and rewarding for us? I mean, every episode has been very good so far. The finale has to continue that or even be the best episode. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but I'm hoping it is there too. So, before Danny Camp Q&A, do you think Thorne is jealous of Michonne because she's attracted to Rick? It's sort of been Thorne and Rick for a while. She's referred to him. Well, I think Thorne, actually, the actress who said that, says she's not attracted to Rick. She sees him as more of a brother. And this isn't Game of Thrones, so you know what I'm saying. But hopefully, I think it's just Thorne sees Rick as her family, as the people she cares about, but not romantically kind of a thing. Brian, Q&A, if Beale buys that, he's dumb as fudge. Well, like, why wouldn't Major General Beale think anything about Rick? So, like, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see. It has to make sense. Again, I'm not trying to get into a discussion and a debate about something we haven't seen yet. And at the end of the day, we have one more episode, so who cares? We have to suspend a little bit about it, too, as well. And so I'm guessing that Major General Beale will let Rick in, but not trust him fully. So then I'm guessing still that Rick and Major General Beale are going to have a fight scene. The sword's going to come into play, stuff I've been saying for a couple weeks now, because they've been building it up. And you just don't show stuff unless you tend to show it or use it or have it come around again. There was emphasis on Major General Beale's sword. He talked about it saving his life, doing this, doing that. Will that be the sword that ends his life? Will it be the sword that takes Rick out? Will something happen there? Only time will tell, but I think it can make sense too. Yeah, Michonne still doesn't have her katana. That I guess it's back in Philadelphia. We'll have to see. Are we ever going to see Esteban again? Are we going to see any of these characters again? Only time will tell. But I'm excited to find out. So we got basketball today, the fourth day of the tournament. Hopefully you're still alive and doing well. I still have chance for the Final Four stuff, but I think a lot of people do as well. So little points here and there add up. Tonight's the episode of Season 1, Episode 5 of The Ones Who Live, titled Become. So I believe the last, episodes 4, 5, and 6 are What We is episode 4. Episode 5 is Become. And episode 6 is The Last Time, I believe it's called too. So it's What We Become the Last Time. So we'll have to see, but I think Michonne has to get the word out to rise up against the CRM and have the people do that. So if all stuff breaks loose, the revolution and the rioting will definitely take place. And so we'll have to see what happens there, kind of like a similar thing in the Commonwealth stuff, somewhat. So we'll have to see people rising up against everybody and taking out the powers that be. because the CRM are not good people. All right, guys, thank you for being here the hour. Sorry for like the first minute or so with no audio, but I'll be back next Sunday to talk about Season 1, Episode 6, a.k.a. the finale of The Ones Who Live. I'm excited to see what happens. Thank you guys either way. We truly appreciate all love and support. Stay safe. And remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals. Believe in yourself. Keep working hard. You can achieve things no matter what they are. I'll be back next Sunday.